Hello, welcome to Bob's Dungeon. My name's Bob, I'll be your host. And in this video, we're going to talk about werewolf tabletop role-playing games. And what I mean by that, not just games you can play a werewolf in, because there's lots of those, but actual games that are solely dedicated to playing werewolf characters. Now, even before the World of Darkness started in the early 90s, you could play werewolves in various games. Dungeons & Dragons, Palladium, and there are a couple of others. But there were no games solely dedicated to playing werewolf characters. And those games also tended to be very punishing on the player characters for playing werewolf characters, because the werewolf thing was more of an affliction than it was a character thing. But anyway, vampires were kind of the same way. Before White Wolf created the World of Darkness and made games that you can play these creatures in that were dedicated solely to it, the games tend to be quite punishing for anybody that played a character afflicted with the vampirism. So you got that. But here's the thing. If you look at all the games that are dedicated solely to playing werewolf characters, you got sort of two options that kind of fit into the same thing. You got Werewolf the Apocalypse and Werewolf the Forsaken. And these are legitimately two different games, but one was, they were made by the exact same company, and one was made to replace the other. So in a way, they're sort of in the same boat. You just got different flavors of the same thing. In Werewolf the Apocalypse, unfortunately, you're a tree-hugging hippie with lots of anger issues. And I never really bought on to the whole, protect the environment thing in the game. I just didn't see that as a werewolf thing. In Werewolf the Forsaken, they do it a little bit better. Now you're spiritual border patrol. Also not that great, but at least it's a step up from being a tree hugger. Well, anyway, that's kind of it for werewolves. Vampires, you have lots of options. Again, you go the route of Vampire the Masquerade, Vampire the Requiem. Kind of same deal with werewolf. But for vampires, you also have a game called Bloodborg, which uses the Morkborg system for you to play vampires. A game dedicated to playing vampires using the Morkborg system. There's a game called Blood Dark Thirst, which is a great game, also dedicated to playing vampires. There's a game out there called Feed, which I don't have, so I don't know a lot about it, but it is also dedicated to players playing vampires. There's a game out there called The Vampire Hack, which got several supplements for it, which takes the White Wolf thing, changes the names a bit, and puts it to the old school Dungeons & Dragons system, old D20, the hack system. And so you got a lot of others on top of that I can't think offhand, but Vampire has a lot of games dedicated to it. Werewolf does not. You got those two. They're kind of in the same boat. With Ghosts, same thing. You have Wraith the Oblivion, and then you have a game called The Ghost Hack, which kind of takes Wraith the Oblivion and does something different with it, using the old school Dungeons & Dragons system. But it's got other games that are dedicated to playing ghosts, not just the one. Mages, same thing. You have Mage the Ascension, Mage the Awakening. Then you got the Mage Hack, or the Magus Hack, which takes Mage and puts it with the old D&D system. There's a game called Witchcraft, which uses the system from Eden Studios, and it's about kind of like mages. And there are a few others playing modern day mages running around in modern society. But werewolves, you got the one thing. I mean, heck, you even got My Little Pony has a step up on werewolf. There was a game called Pony Finder, which uses Pathfinder, but it's a system dedicated solely to playing pony characters. And then they came out with an official My Little Pony role-playing rules. So you got two there. Werewolf is still in one boat. And you can sit there and tell me that, they got it right the first time around with the werewolf games. And, I like them, but I would rather not be focusing more on protecting the environment with my werewolves or border patrol. It's just not something that I'd look for in my werewolf games. I mean, we as gamers have given more creative thought into My Little Ponies, more love and respect to them than we have our werewolves, which is weird. So thank you for joining me in my ranting about werewolves and wondering where they've all gone to and what we've done with them. And hopefully you'll join me next time where we'll talk about something else. Bye.